5 games that I would love to talk about are games that I have discovered, or that were like those. Do I remember that from somewhere? Like maybe some arcade that I saw at somewhere out of town on vacation or something like that, where it's just like that one game that you played that one night that you just don't remember. Because you don't remember a lot of things. Like I don't remember to keep checking to see if I'm spiking my audio. So all of this may be absolutely unusable. I don't know. The 5 games that I have discovered, first one is Zektor. Zektor is like bumper bowling, asteroids or something. And I don't really remember Zektor, but the thing at the beginning, when it says you have to fight for it.
You'll have to fight for it.
I remember that. So I don't know if I remember that from a long time ago when I was a kid, or if I remember that from 4 years ago when I was still a kid, but I was fumbling through vector games online or on Retro Uprising or some other place, and that was either a clip or I played it as a game on there, so I don't remember that. But that one was remotely familiar to me. QB3 is a really, really interesting game. It's a twin stick game, so I love that because it functions like Robotron in that sense. But unlike Robotron, you are not limited to your field. You can cross off of your screen, but you cross onto the next screen. So you play on a cube, and you start off, I think, with 1 screen and then 2 faces and 4 faces or something. But you have to clear these cubes, and it's a very, very clever game. It's very interesting, very difficult, and at some point, I'm probably going to spend a little bit more time with this one. Vector games are close to my heart to begin with, and this one, I love the functionality of it. TaxScan. TaxScan is another really fun game. And TaxScan, like a lot of other games, especially the specialty games like anything that you set up for the spinner or the trackball, the default MAME or ROM settings in MAME tend to be super, 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 super sensitive if they're even set up at all. So you need to set things up, and I usually dial it back and start at like 20, 15, 10. You'd be surprised when you get down in there how you can really get a good feel for it. It just takes some time. But once you get things set up, some of these games, and TaxScan is one of them, people will understand this. The old time people will understand this. When you tried to play Warlords without paddles, the first time you tried to play a paddle game with a stick, the control is just wrong. Aztarac is another one that I didn't even realize it, because I didn't recognize the game at first, even though all vector games sort of look familiar. He's like, have I seen that before? Because they have a similarity to them because they're all vector games. But to be able to control the rotation of the gun with a spinner makes a big difference. And I think the spinner's set at like 3, like 0.3 it's set at. And it's still almost too sensitive. I just dial everything down and then start to creep it up. It's always set way too high. Star Trek is a great game that incorporates a lot. So you have phasers and you have torpedoes, and you can go in, you can get shields from your base, and you're fighting Klingons and all this other stuff and everything. And it's one of those games that I wish it was slower. I remember from Apple II days, one that was like K's and E's. You were in an E. The Enterprise was an E on a grid. Asterisks were stars, and you shot hashtags at each other. It was really more a text game with just a few little visual, but it was cool. And when that's all you had, it was really interesting if you were a Star Trek fan, which I was. So I almost wish that this Star Trek was slower, that you could do a slower version of it, because it has a lot of really interesting elements that if you just fleshed it out a little bit, and I'm sure there are going to be people saying, well, Star Trek XYZ, they did all that. And then maybe they did all that. Star Trek is a great game. It's got a lot to it. It's interesting. It almost frustrates me because it's almost too fast of a game. I don't want a speed shooter with that one. I want to think about it. I want to be able to think, do I want to go take those Klingons out? There's just really not time to do that, or maybe I just don't have the patience to learn it, or I haven't had the patience to learn it, haven't taken the time to learn it. So maybe that's something that I could do, and do another video about how a game that continues to frustrate me really is just a lot of fun, regardless of what I might think that I take from it or not. Thanks for watching. Just in case this does turn into something, and I will respond to your comments.